What it do? What it do, folks? You're listening to the Urban Sports Scene. I'm Wole. I'm joined with my guy, Ray Jeezy. Is here in the building with me. What's good, Ray?
Acknowledge me, homie. I'm in the building for sure. That's what I had to do to Roman Reigns. You feel me? Double R. It's the same thing. Don't get it twisted. I still got the belt, my brother. Good to see you though.
Always good to see you, man. Always good to see you. We got a special show, man. We last week. I want to just tap in a little bit. Last week, obviously, we lost a DMV hooping legend in Lawrence Moten. So we since we cover DMV hoops, we've done a lot of stuff regarding DMV hoops. We thought we had to do a show about it. So we actually got a cool guest to talk about it. But yeah, before we get into it, what were your thoughts when you heard the news initially?
Brother, I texted you right away when I heard the news. I heard it before it broke. Not that means anything, just it was a shock like everybody else was shocked. And like you said, tribute started pouring in about 20 minutes after we heard, or I told you guys. But the reason why I texted you first is because you and I were just talking about him in terms of where his place was in the legacy of DMV hoopers. And it was like, whoa, we were just talking about him. He was relatively young. He's not that much older than you and I, actually.
Yeah, I know.
And
I know.
obviously covering HBCUs, being able to work around his daughter. She's very friendly. You know, we worked side by side one time at Howard. She may not remember that, but that's neither here nor there. It's just, he showed up to a Howard game. It's somebody you saw. Wole, you rooted for Georgetown growing up. We watched a lot of Georgetown back in the day. And, of course, Lawrence Moten was a guy that they played against in the classic days of the Big East. So just a lot of great hoops memories, a lot of personal memories as, he got older. And he always stayed close to the area, always stayed close to Syracuse. When Jerry McNamara went off, I used to troll you with that. He was the first one on the court saying, Jerry, you look good. So got a lot of positive memories, just a sad time. The shock is kind of worn off now, and it's time to celebrate the brother's life. And I'm glad we could do that tonight.
Oh man, definitely. Like you said, you used to see him around the way. I mean, I saw him at Jasper's. I mean, that's if y'all don't know, that's a local spot here, local bar spot here. And, and he would be there, and he would be so cool. Like he'd be super cool. One day I was like the first time I ever seen him in person. I was sitting there. I was like, "Is that Lawrence Moten sitting right beside me?" And it was. You know what I mean? He was super cool. You can spark a conversation with him, and whatnot. So, but yeah. Being a Georgetown fan, watching him was watching him and always terrorizing the Hoyas was always something about it. But we're gonna dive into a lot of this discussion with our guests. But before we do all that, we gotta knock out some logistics. You can check out our website, which is the urbansportscene.com. And also, you see this cool hat I'm wearing. Shout out to my man Kevin Nibley, his apparel company called ODC. If you want a hat like this, which is sharp, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, it's real sharp. Just check it out. It's shop. ODC.com. That shop ODC.com. Here's it right here. So feel free, copy this link. Make sure you get it. I mean, go ahead, look at all the apparel. He has hats. He got shirts.
Like, I got a shirt.
All good
got
stuff.
him on Instagram. I got him on Instagram. Okay, that makes sense now. It's Kevin Nibley's line. That's dope.
It's Kevin's line.
I didn't know that. I accepted the friend request and followed back, and I love it. Okay, I'm gonna give me a shirt. I'm not a hat dude at this point,
Well, I'm a hat dude.
I got hold on. You feel me?
Well, I'm boss. I'm good. I got this hat.
Hey, no. You run the hat game, bro. I'll give you that.
All right, man. But yeah, Kevin, appreciate this. Again, if y'all want a hat like this, hit it up, man. Again, that's shopoldc.com. All right. So you can also subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search the Urban Sports Scene. Make sure to subscribe to our Urban Sports Scene YouTube channel. If you're in the YouTube chat, we accept super chats. Super chats help us support the show. And when you supply a super chat, those super chats will be prioritized over all comments in the chat. Don't forget to tweet us at Urban Sports Scene. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at Urban Sports Scene. And also like our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. You can also join our Urban Sports Scene Facebook group. Just search Urban Sports Scene, sports bloggers, sports podcasters, and sports debates. All right, let's get into our tradition. Pregame. Here's what we have on tap. Penny Greene will join us to talk about Lawrence Moten's impact for hooping in the hooping scene in the DC area. Penny Greene is a DMV basketball historian. He knows so much info about anything you need to know about basketball in this area. So, Ray, you want to introduce our guest?
Yeah, you pretty much did it already, but it's okay. I'm excited like you are to have a DMV legend joining us tonight. We've had so many legends on this show, and tonight is no different. He's a legend on the court. Like you said, Wole, he knows the history of the game like no other. You saw him in the documentary, Basketball County in the Water. Welcome to the Urban Sports Scene. Mr. Penny Greene was good, brother.
Thank you, my brothers.
Thank you for being on. Thank you.
Energy. I like the energy.
You try. You try.
Oh yeah, 100%. So, brother, we're gonna have you back on. I already talked to you separate about that because we gotta highlight your accomplishments and your accolades. But of course, tonight is about the legend, like we said. Poetry and Moten is what they called him. And I want to ask you first, just talk about when you first saw Lawrence Moten play basketball, and also give our listeners a bit of a background in terms of how you met and the relationship that you all shared.
Well, of course, I saw him come up, heard about him, doing his thing at Curl. I know they got one of the what's the conference called?
The what's the DC conference? Yeah,
he got one of them his junior year, beat the Mathis. So anytime people take down the Mathis, you're going to hear about him. So I know he was doing this thing. And then he went to Syracuse and just walked in the door, smashing folks up.
Facts.
So the beautiful part is I actually had an interview with him down Watts Playground. You know what I mean? The pit bulls were barking. You know what I mean? There was weed in the air. You know what I mean? Doing the interview, and kids are riding through the interview on their bike, looking at me like, "What's the problem?" I'm like, trying to interview somebody. So I was fortunate to get Mo in the rare essence of Watts Playground, food, barbecue off in the distance, and the brother gave me a heck of an interview. That was the second time I met him. The first time I met him, I was up running shoot. I came in town, coming old triple OG, but I got my gear. I see Stacy Robb over at running shoot. I'm like, Stace, is that Lawrence Moten? He said, yeah, why? I said, can you give me a one-on-one with him? He said, oh, hell no. I am not going to let you hack that man up. I just want some cardio. I ain't going to hack him up. I ain't that hungry to win. So he's like, oh, man, you want me? I said, you are Lawrence Moten, the Big East all-time leading scorer. Is that correct? I said, I just want some wreck, my brother. We lace him up. This new generation, they want to check the ball after every miss. I'm like, what kind of basketball is this? So, 15-9 or whatever. I said, can we play like old school? He said, what old school? You miss it, hit the rim, you run and get it, you shoot, you know what I mean? Basketball. I said, okay. Game gets going good, fall into the zone. He said, oh, shit, you could actually shoot. Now he turns up the notch defensively, throw a couple of them against the bleachers. But by this time, my confidence is up. I throw up a wild shot, take about 10 minutes to come down, splash. I win.
What?
Hey, he's like, okay, wait a second. So we got to have a rubber game, right? I said, oh, hell no. I'm done. So we sat down on the bleachers, and he explained to me he was working out with Gilbert Arenas and Boy Hughes. He was down there cooking them. He asked Coach Eddie Jordan, because Eddie recruited him at Rutgers. He was the first guy to come to his house when he was getting recruited. I know North Carolina came, Michigan came, Notre Dame came, but they were the first ones. He said, Coach, how do I get back in the flow of the NBA? He said, Lawrence, I figured out what your problem is. He said, what's that, Coach? He said, you make it look too easy. It's so slow and easy and smooth. The coaches confuse your one gear for not working hard or playing hard. It's a perception. Even though you're very effective, your numbers always look lovely. And he looked at him like, wow, that's a heck of a statement. But that came from Eddie Jordan, that he made it look too easy. So that happened. And now I circle back to him years later to do an interview, catch him down Watts. Once again, the brother is typical DC swag, smooth, composed. You know what I mean? He's a DC guy for sure. So we start chopping it up. Tells me he comes out of Northeast, off North Capitol Street, played at Langley Recreation Center, number 2 Boys Club, Brooklyn, that little area down there. He said he would tour that area, basically putting in his work. So, that was real smooth to get that background. And then I talked to Coach Curl Holmes, used to be at the master. I don't know, but back in the day when he was with Dantley, they called him the chairman of the boards. Earl Holmes, Hard Rock. So Carroll Holmes, the coach at Carroll, and he went there to play football and basketball. So between the football coach and Carroll Holmes had that DeMatha pedigree, decides to go to Carroll. Dick Myers was trying to get at him, brought him up to the camp, let him work the camp, give him $2, work the camp with Gonzaga, but he goes to Carroll and falls into the groove. Mr. Coach Holmes wants him to start to be on varsity as a JV player. I mean, as a ninth grader, but he said he'd rather play JV, get the reps in. So he convinced the coach of that, and then he ended up being on varsity. So that's how his career started over at Carroll. So when we sat down and talked that day, I didn't know it, but his father was a great football player at McKinley Tech, and played a little bit at Federal City. He was a quarterback. So, you know, he come from that good DC pedigree, you know what I'm saying? So that was nice. He talked about going down to Florida and playing with, St. Nicholas, all the guys from New York, from the Bronx. He played against Adrian Autry, who ended up playing against at a later time, playing with Syracuse. Brian Reese went to North Carolina. Malik Sealy went to
St. John's, right?
John's. It was called the King Cotton Classic. So he did his thing that, and so he's thinking to himself, You know, a lot of times with DC guys, like I interviewed Dave Bink up in Detroit in the mayor's office. I didn't even know how good I was until I left DC. He said, because at home, I was just another guy. I walked in and lead with the MVP trophy. So for a lot of guys, we realize we got skills, but when we step into a different territory and shine so bright, we realize, okay. So he was in that same situation. And one thing he also talked about, which I thought was unique, and I haven't been able to proof check this. No, I think he could be right. He said that he was the only guy who was all Met, football and basketball.
He always talks about it. He always talks about that.
Because I know some guys, Joe Howard, this boy Mosley. I know some guys that did it once, but to do it twice. And my barber is from the DC area, the DMV. He said he went to the football game and the boy Graves would just throw it, and Moten would just run it down. Right? And he was a safety.
I heard to like that. I thought he was like that at safety. I heard he was like that at safety.
Everything out the air.
I heard he was crushing things at safety.
Yeah, so that's how all that piece started. You know what I mean? As far as Carl getting the little ring, doing his thing. So now he goes up and getting recruited by all these schools. And he said, little did many people know that he was going to go to Maryland.
So why he go to Maryland?
The boy Donnell Marshall that went to Connecticut. I didn't see the article, but he said there was an article saying Eminem is headed to Maryland. Donnell Marshall. And Moten decided he wanted to go to Maryland. You know, everybody was looking at him, Georgetown. I know what you're saying this and that one. But he said that he had a 2.7, and that was a little light for Maryland's academic requirement.
Really? Why do you want? I'm questioning. Like you said, Georgetown. How come he didn't go to like Georgetown? I was really interested in that. Like, why not Georgetown?
Well, he did say in the interview he was happy he went to Syracuse because he know if he would have stayed local, Maryland, Georgetown, you got the fellas with you know what I'm saying? You know. I was happy I went to South Florida because I know the fellas would have wore me out. You know what I'm saying? And how you say no to your boys? You know what I mean?
I got you.
Slim, where them gals at? Slim? Because you know you got privilege because you know what I mean? And they know you got privilege. They figured I catch that overflow, I'll be in good shape. You know what I mean? So no, he gets up to Syracuse. I think the best thing when he told me about he did the Capitol Classic. And Grant Hill and Michael Smith won the MVP. He had like 13 points. He had a solid performance. And he got the All-Met. He said that was a badge of honor. You know what I'm saying? Getting that All-Met recognition. Everybody, loves the fact when you look in the newspaper and you take the picture. I remember when I was a youngin', Stacey Robinson called me up. He was a junior. I was a senior. Penny Greene. You gonna take the picture this year? You gonna be in the picture? I said, Rob, I'm trying real hard. If it's up to me, you know I'm gonna be in a picture at 25-7 a game. I plan on being in a picture. But I ended up being 13. I got robbed. That's okay. That's another. So he had the badge of honor. He goes to Syracuse. So he gets up there, and they got all these parade All-Americans up there. They got Adrian Autry. They got Anthony Harris. They got Conrad McCoy. One of the seniors is Dave Johnson, who ends up playing in the NBA. So they're going to tell Lawrence, it's great to see you. I know you got big expectations, but you probably won't break the lineup for a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? You got all these friends. Lawrence thinking this, what? That motivated him. Okay, that motivated him. And so the boy, John Lloyd, I think he come out of Baltimore, little 5'11" point guard. He ended up having an ankle, first game of the season, ankle problem. So they put up on the board starting lineup, and Lawrence is in the starting lineup. Goes by him, said, I'm giving y'all 5 minutes, get it together. He said he went running for the payphone, looking for a payphone. Look, he find a payphone. He call his mother. He tell his mother, I'm starting. And she's like, what, baby? He said, I'm starting, Ma. And she said, baby, she said, don't let go of it. You know what I'm saying? Don't look back. This is it. This is what you wanted. Don't let it. Don't look back. So he's starting as a freshman.
Yeah.
First game. And they was telling him, it'll be taking a couple of years before you break the lineup. So he said he was thrilled about that. And so let's think about this. He averaged 18-2 as a freshman.
Crazy.
He was putting them to sleep. They was sleepy. Okay. Smooth, deliberate. And he said, I said, what would you say your greatest asset was, Lawrence? I mean, what made you special if you were to look at it and give me that opinion? He said, I had the ability to see things before they happen. He said, things would slow down for me, and I could anticipate where everybody was going to be and everybody was moving. And that's, I think, was my biggest asset, my ability, my vision. You know what I mean? I thought it was also nice that on the way up, when he was putting in work at the park, he gave JoJo Hunter some mention. He said JoJo told him early on, you get out of this game what you put into the game. And coming from a guy like JoJo, legend, you know what I mean? That meant a lot to Lawrence. So he did his thing, ended up being, Rookie of the Year in Syracuse. He was first team Big East, sophomore, junior, and senior year, and ended up being an all-time leading scorer. And the guys that were running around the Big East back then, Terry DeHare, Chris Mullins, Pat Ewing, Al Ives, Ray Allen, Kerry Kittle.
Alonzo Mourning. All them dudes, man.
And I remember when the Big East shut down, I called him. I was like, yo, Lawrence, the Big East just shut down. He said, so that means, yeah, he said, that's right. I'll be the all-time leading scorer. That's right. I just want to make sure you caught what I caught. Yeah. Cat was smooth, you know what I'm saying, kind-hearted, always had a good conversation for you. You know what I'm saying? They overuse a lot of cliches in life, but if I were to put one word on Lawrence Moten, I would say class act. Class act.
For sure.
Yeah, I think it's like, I think he's one of the, it's crazy when the news dropped and we talked about this at the beginning of the show. Ray and I were talking about this place in terms of area hoops. But I know growing up for me, like the old heads around me used to tell me like Lawrence Moten was him. Like, and I'm a Georgetown fan, so I used to hate. I ain't gonna lie, watching this. I used to hate because I didn't know at this time when I'm a youngin, I didn't know he was around the way. Like I looked at him like, oh, he in Syracuse. Like I ain't worried. He going against the Hoyas. He going against my squad. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at him like, why is this dude always giving us buckets? Like I'm like, I can't stand this dude. Like he always giving us buckets, long socks and everything, always giving us buckets. But like, there's one thing about him, like there's like scorers in Syracuse, and especially Big East play all for period. But in definitely if for Syracuse, there's Carmelo, there's Moten, and there's probably John Wallace in my lifetime that I got to see. I didn't get to see like Derek Coleman play. Like I didn't watch him play in college, but I know like those three are dudes that always stood out to me in terms of Syracuse hoopers, where I was like, oh, they anytime they needed a bucket, it was them. And Lawrence Moten to me was like, he was smooth. And because I was like, and the thing that used to get with me with Lawrence Moten is like he moved it, like you said, he moved at his own pace. So I was like, he's slow. Like, why is he getting by you? Like, but no, it's like he moves at his own pace and he knows how to get to his spot to get the bucket. So he was, to me, like when we talk about professional scorers in the collegiate realm, like he was a professional scorer.
Smooth. He was smooth, man. I tell you, I agree with that because I'm not gonna say he was slow. Like I thought Mike Beasley was slow, but I thought he was smooth though. I thought he was smooth, and I thought he would have that effect that Melo eventually had, getting the championship at Syracuse. That's one of the things that I regret. Well, I'm sure he regret he never won a chip for Boeheim. But again, stuff happens. It's hard to win at the collegiate level, no matter what caliber player you are. We seen number one overall picks.
One game elimination.
That's tough to win in. But in terms of individual accolades, yeah, that's just what it is for him, and we already know that. I want to ask you real quick because you dropped the dope line in the documentary In the Water about New York, and I know upstate is different from the city, but still, how special was it? This DMV DC guy putting on, showing off, hooping in the state of New York.
Boeheim kept a little pipeline to New York, but DC had a pipeline to Syracuse also. Mm-hmm. It started with Dave Bing, NBA top 50, averaged 28.4 senior year, NBA Rookie of the Year, first guard to lead the NBA in scoring, David Bing, mayor of Detroit. Took it over. This bar right there. Okay. Then after him, a brother out of DeMatha named Ernie Austin. He had a brother named John Austin. Ernie came right after Bing, a few years after that. And then let's not forget about the general showed up at Syracuse, Sherman Douglas.
Yep.
Got him to the finals against Indiana. And then after Sherman, come Lawrence. So we had a little pipeline. It wasn't as big as some of the other pipelines, NC State, Notre Dame. You know what I mean? But we had a little DC pipeline. And then another brother went up there. He didn't last long, but he was nice as right. That boy, Billy Edlin.
Yeah, Billy, from Silver Spring, yeah.
Yeah, he did his thing for a minute up there. So then they had the Baltimore connection with Carmelo and the boy Dante Greene. Mm-hmm. But for him to go up there and do his thing and represent DC, and that's what we do. You know what I mean? So, I love New York. Love New York. But when we get it, because of the hype, we likes to cook them New Yorkers.
I have a question. So for Lawrence Moten, we talk about so many other, DMV area hoopers, right? So what made Moten's game and personality so unique among the legends who balled in this area?
Well, I just think that he came on the scene with such a big bang. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. As a freshman, scoring, averaging in the Big East when it was stacked up, when the Big East was pretty much at its height. And, he got them close. They won some NCAA games with him.
Yeah.
And just his persona, you know what I mean? It's like, he was smiling. You know what I mean? It's like, he was, he was the same temperament all the time. Mm-hmm. And day in and day out, he was getting his man. So I think the way he did it with such style and class that, it made him unique. I was always angry, I was mad at everybody. I didn't want to shake nobody's hand after the game. I didn't want to stand up for the flag. Coach said, son, what are you doing? Look in the other way. What's wrong with you? But I was angry. Moten was happy. He was cool. Everything was good. I'm going to have fun today. I'm going to cook y'all and laugh about it. So I think that made him a unique guy. You know what I mean? And like I said, I met him on a couple, 3, 4 different occasions. Once I was at Baltimore Airport, I seen him at the airport. You know what I mean? Always had the same speed, same temperament. Always had time for you. Always was bringing something positive to you. You know what I mean? Just a real positive guy. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And I'm on the DC Basketball Hall of Fame committee. I'm very proud to say, since I joined the committee this year, Bebe, how you say last name? Durant, Bebe, Georgetown. I can't pronounce it properly. Bebe played with Dunbar. They was 29-0. 76, they was number 1 in the country. So Bebe said to me, Penny Greene, since you got on the committee, you brought authenticity and realness, and the city respects the DC Basketball Hall of Fame piece now. You got Stacy in, you got me in. So next year, I'm definitely plugging Lawrence Moten.
Oh, yeah, better.
For the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, there's so many guys in DC. I mean, right now, there's 100 guys that could be in the DC Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But Lawrence definitely is at the top of the list.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I'm with you. There's a lot of, like, obviously we talk about this all the time. Like, I'm with you. I feel like this area, we know, like, this area it is when it comes to hooping. We one of them. And if we're not, we should be talked about a lot more than others, in my opinion. But I think the myth of, like, not the myth, but the image of Lawrence Moten just around the way as a hooper, like so much respect. Like, that's what I'm like. He's a guaranteed Hall of Famer because it don't matter which walk of life you come from. It's like, if you were in this area, you heard of Lawrence Moten. You know what I mean? Like, Lawrence Moten is like the area of hooping. Like, just like how we talk about Kevin Durant now, and like now how we talk about Kevin Durant now. That's how folks were talking about Lawrence Moten back then. Yeah, like they were talking about him.
Big East
the Big East
was arguably the best conference in America at the time. ACC is always in the conversation, Big Ten in the conversation. But for him to excel in the best conference, I mean, the Warriors, they come out, you know, they fighting you, they scratch you, they clawing you, you know what I'm saying? Making it difficult, and he laughing.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Especially, it was always hard to beat him in the dome. Like, was tough to beat in the dome. Like Lawrence Moten, as I'm saying, it's a guarantee. To me, it's like a guarantee. Like, it shouldn't be a difficult play to put him, even if he did. I mean, to be honest with you, even if he didn't pass, like, he's an individual that I feel like deserves to be in there ASAP, because he's just in that era of basketball. Like, there are notable dudes in college basketball in that era. Like, Lawrence Moten is one of them. And I'm talking about nationally. This is not even this is not a thing about local. This is nationally. Lawrence Moten is one of the more recognizable people in that time frame. You got folks, when they see high socks, they think of Lawrence Moten.
No, that lets you know. I said, "What's up with the socks, man?" I know Walt Williams used to have a
that too. Walt,
So I was like, "What's up with socks?" I had left the area. You know what I mean? I had left the area, moved out the area. I seen everybody wearing the socks. So he said that he liked that boy. JoJo was wearing his socks at the time. He said that boy Michael Britt over at UDC was wearing his socks. He said it was a DC thing. He just thought he'd carry out the tradition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Walt was wearing his socks up, because when you saw the socks, you knew exactly where he was from. You know what I mean? The DC character.
Love it.
But I'm just like, I'm glad that you're going to fight for that, because it deserves to happen.
I'm gonna make it happen, bro.
Yeah, I love it.
Hey, we appreciate that. I'm glad you dropped that on here, because that's important for people to know. But I want to ask this question, because a lot of times, I know a lot has been made recently. Like when Allen Iverson was on All the Smoke, they said, we want to give you your flowers now. We don't want to wait till you're gone like Kobe or somebody. And in terms of this area, one name that continues to live on through generations is Len Bias. How do you compare Lawrence Moten, now that he's unfortunately passed, to the name Len Bias in terms of legacy? And will it be similar? And we'll always be talking about Lawrence Moten for generations to come.
I'm kind of the anti-GOAT man, because like everybody try to get me in the GOAT conversation. But I figure like there's a lot of grass and a lot of grazing and a lot of goats.
Oh, yeah.
Different goats in different eras.
I'm with you. I believe that.
Mike is better than Coke. Look, because I think it's disrespectful, because they all did their thing during their time. I don't hear nobody saying that Louis Armstrong better than Dizzy Gillespie. They just give them flowers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I get your question. Lenny was more different style. You know what I mean? It's like different automobiles. You know what I mean? Like there's a Porsche, like Stacey Rollins a Porsche Carrera, because when he shifted gears, his car it dropped. You know how the Porsche would drop down when it hit 160? The whole body dropped. That was Stacey. Like he would hit a gear and it's just Lenny was like a space shuttle, like a rocket ship. You know, he just was so explosive. You know, it was just, when is he going to explode? Hold on to your hat. You know, everybody's mouth hanging open. Lawrence was just consistent poetry in motion.
He was. I mean, well, he was smooth, man. He was.
I mean, I'm looking at the interview. He said they had the seniors against the underclassmen, you know, game in the dome up there to get the season started. I think they called it the orange-blue game or whatever they call it, but most colleges do it. He a freshman. In the first game, officially, he give him 35. He give him a 35. Coach Van said, I think we have something special here. Lawrence, I want to invite you out to the house. Okay. You come on out to bring your little female friend and you come on out to the house, okay?
Oh man, when you look at his like his body of work at Syracuse, and you talked about it, like just like again as a freshman, almost basically giving you 18, and it's at the time we play in college sports where he's averaged 20 his junior year, at 21 his junior year.
The league was scoring the team average 19. That was Dave Johnson.
Yeah,
he went to the league.
Yeah, exactly. That freshman year. You talking about following that, like so, but usually like in college, and I talked about this with Ray. Like in college, it's hard to average like 20 points a game and being on a winning team.
College basketball, okay.
Yeah.
I killed PG County. You know, I killed pretty much anything I ran into.
Yeah.
When I got to USF, and I had a brother from Chicago, Thornridge High School, 6'5", 215. I'm spinning on him, and when I spin, he's still there. I'm like, wait, you're supposed to be there, big boy, right? And in high school, he would have probably been a center. Now he checked me. So normally there's an adjustment period.
Yeah.
You know, there's exceptions to the rule, but for most people, there's a little bit of a adjustment period in that freshman year. He didn't have none.
Exactly. That's what's crazy. Like that's what I'm saying. Like to like in an era like nowadays, you know, sometimes like some kids because they jack and they scoring 20 whatever points, but like in that era of basketball, to average 20, like I think his junior year was 21. He averaged 21 his junior year. In that era, to average 20 plus points, especially being in the Big East, where the Big East is about defense, and you could still drop about 21 points a game, just shows you how smooth of a scorer he was, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because he was a scorer. I would never like there are shooters that can score. They're like, but he to me is just a flat out scorer. Like I wouldn't even call him. He's not a shooter. He's a scorer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And he really wasn't getting up off the floor.
Yes, did that too. Exactly.
He really wasn't blowing by you.
Yep.
But intellectually,
there you go.
He was Einstein. He was Einstein. Intellectually, his IQ was off the charts.
Yes, sir.
Do what he did without jumping over you, blowing by you, or you know what I mean? He didn't have all that really that jazzmatazz. He just studied you and scored buckets.
Do you think his football mindset kind of helped him with that?
Yeah, because I think football for the guys, and I played a little bit of football. You get used to getting bumped. You get used to, you know, being a little bit off balance. You know, you get used to collisions. So I think the collision aspect, and then his vision, and then just growing up in that competitive environment. I mean, when he came out of high school, Michael Smith was running around, Grant Hill was running around, Kirk Smith was running around, the boy out in Parkdale, Henry Hawk. There was a lot of talent right around. Monty Williams was right in that. It was a lot. It was thick right in that era. And, you know, obviously you got AAU now and guys go all over the country. But when you grow up in that, and especially in the 70s with me, when you grow up in, because I remember the time I ran up on Johnny Davis. He started for Portland Trailblazers. We went up to Dayton, come out of Detroit. And all the guys on the team was like, Johnny Davis. I'm thinking to myself, I just left Stacey Robinson, so I'm sure whatever I see, I already see. I can't imagine seeing more than I already seen.
Mm-hmm.
So that competitive environment that Lawrence Moten came out of, it produced a lot of really great players during that little era. So yeah, he was prepared and ready, and he had a heck of a coach. Yeah. Carl Holmes was a hard-nosed, disciplined, and like I said, he came from that DeMaster pedigree. And I have to argue, I would say that conference during that era, and I know when I came out, was as good as any high school conference in America, that Catholic League conference.
Yeah.
So when you look at Curl and Gonzaga and Mackin, and it's just loaded with talent. And any given night, when somebody just will take your lunch from you. So I just think that environment, the fact that he did play football, had the ability to handle the bump, and just his basketball IQ, propelled him to another level.
Yeah, WCAC, that's the conference. Now it's coming to me.
I get all those acronyms.
Yeah, I know. I had to think about it myself.
That's easy. That's one of the best in the country, fellas. That's easy. But I ain't want to interrupt. That's why I never said nothing. Yeah,
no, we gotta make sure. Hey, I forgot. I had to make sure I was good.
No,
that stuff bothers me. That stuff bothers me.
They're still doing their thing. 30 years later, the conference is still producing A1 top of the line talent.
Yes, sir.
When I came out in the 70s, the Master had Adrian Dantley. That team was considered in the top 10 in all-time high school team. Mackin had Keith Hearn, Larry Hearn, Dave Reed. They had 5 Division I players. Curl. It was just St. John's, which was like the 3rd or 4th best team, beat Dunbar with Skip Wise and broke their 32-game win streak.
Dang.
They was on a 30-some game win streak. And they play in St. John's. They thinking, because they looking at the cultural makeup and they thinking, we're going to be all right. That boy Joe Gallagher could coach, what I'm saying? They go back up the Parkway with an L.
There it is.
I know they was confused, like you read about.
Oh man.
Yeah, Ray, that's a tough conference.
Ray, you want to say something? I thought you.
Well, not really. I just, because of how you answered the last question, and Randolph Childress kind of said this to us too. He said, "I can't come up with a Mount Rushmore of DC players. I can't rank nobody." He said something similar to what you said. Dave Bing said. He said, "Man, I got cooked so many nights that I didn't even realize how good I was till I left." You know what I mean? He was like, "So it's different eras." He's like, "I refuse." He's like, "That's a whole different show. We can rank people by era, and we can all agree that Lawrence Moten was at the top of his era, but it's just dope to honor him. And it don't matter where we feel somebody belongs, whether KD is number 1 or this person, whoever. Yeah. We know who the Hoopers was, and we know the talent-rich area that the DMV continues to be and has been.
And I get it. I get the Kevin Durant, but let's also remember Elgin Baylor was playing in Minneapolis.
I know.
They didn't have no teams west of the Mississippi. They felt so good about his game that they opened up the LA market. The first team west of the Mississippi, Elgin was the first superstar. Before that, black players rebound pass, but to give him the show and stick him in LA.
There you go.
He's one too.
63 is he scored 63 as a rookie, or 72. I think he scores, might have been 72, but then the next year Chamberlain scored 100. So
got me hyped,
man. LA boys, LA this, LA. I said, listen, your father learned his game from Elgin Baylor. So let's start there, and then we can move from there.
Got me hyped, man.
I love it. So we talked a lot about Moten, his stats, his game, his records. But what kind of impact did Moten have on the DMV basketball community, especially the younger community that's like following him, like after him?
Well, I know he worked with doing some coaching. He's out at Watts, and from my understanding, every chance he got, he was giving back. And he thought it was very important to give back and to help these young guys understand there's nothing wrong with showing respect. I get you a tough guy, this, that, whatever, but just show a little respect as you move. And I think he was trying to instill that in the youth.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people, when you look at a lot of folks' games, even as even their stature's a little different. You can tell that like they got some of it by watching like a Lawrence Moten or the style of play from a Lawrence Moten. Like I feel like watching somebody like a DeMar Johnson is kind of like, he's a little taller, sneaky, a little taller, but I think in terms of the way he moves and the way he tries it, like with the way he slashes the basketball, the way he handles the rock, it's similar to what like a Lawrence Moten was back in the day. So I think a lot of players, they I think his impact, people don't know it, but they took a little bit of his game. They may not know it, but you can tell, like, since he was the original of his game, you could, or there's folks that probably obviously have he looked and he's kind of mimicked in their game. But I know looking at some of these younger dudes after him, a lot of them I felt like kind of copied his game in the back.
I get that. And the thing is, every generation, people look at that generation, it's connecting the dots. You know what I mean? Like at the Hall of Fame the other day, Tom Sluby walked up to Billy Bryan and said, "I wore number 11 because of you." So you don't even know what eyes are on you, but they looking, observing, and they taking little bits and pieces of your game and using it as they develop their own game.
Yeah, I mean, just again, and his game is easy to kind of like look at and say, you know what, let me try to emulate it. You know what I mean? And because if it worked for you, bro, being like one of the best scorers to ever come out the Big East, like it definitely works. It definitely can work. Like that's a good thing to try to copy.
He was special, man.
Yeah,
the boy was special, and he moved like a king. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he really did.
Yeah, and to your point, like he did give back. Like he had adult basketball leagues up here in PG County. So he did give back. Like he was hosting leagues, he was doing that. Like he definitely did gave back to the area. You know what I mean? So he just wasn't a figure that you just saw around. He was a dude that really was hands-on and trying to give back to the community.
And when I look at ball players, you know what I'm saying, evaluate Hall of Fame, this, that, whatever, I look at it in 4 different lenses. I look at your body of work in high school. I look at what you did in college. Some were fortunate enough to get into the pro ranks, either in Europe or in the NBA, and what you did on the playground. So he cooked a lot of folks down at the Goodman League too. I got some video that I inherited, and he did his thing down there too. So he did it wherever he went, and so it's just a pleasure to know the man, to cut into that man, and just, what I mean, like you say, and I don't want to over exaggerate, but as a kid, how they talked about when Kennedy got assassinated. Yeah, it almost like hit the city like, on a different level, of course. Yeah. It almost like I was getting phone call. First call I got from Delonte Taylor. He was like, "Yo, Lawrence Moten." It was like it hit you. It hit you in the soul, man. I mean, a lot of people have passed that I know, ball players, this, that, whatever. You always feel something. But when it came to me, it actually hit me. I was like, damn, like it hit me, like you know what I mean. And I know a lot of guys that were calling me, they was like feeling it like that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like we said earlier, it hit us a certain way because we're talking about him. Like literally, maybe the day before he passed, we were literally talking about him.
It's scary, man.
My barber called me from Atlanta. He said, "Dude, we was in a barbershop just talking about Lawrence Moten because he went to Kennedy High School in Moe County, so he kind of came up in the same era. He's the one that told me how they used to just throw the ball at Graves. Went to Syracuse, played quarterback. I used to just throw the ball, and Lawrence used to run it down. So it just really was. It was like a gut shot, you know. What I mean?
Just, for sure. I just want to say before we close out that Wole, we've done a lot of interviews, and I know Penny, you probably will agree. That era of basketball was so special because of the playground element that doesn't exist today. I mean, we have a lot of AAU, but the kids today, they didn't see that type of basketball back then. They didn't play that type of basketball, and I think that era will never be. We'll never see that again. And I think that's what also elevates Lawrence Moten because of what era he played and where he came from.
Yeah, because they made you tough. Right. And guys took you under their wing and they mentored you and they told you, look, you got to work on your left hand. If you want to get to the next level, you got to do this. You're going to have to work a little hard. It was guys motivating you and pushing you. And it was funny because I remember I interviewed a guy named Cricket Williams, and he said, the neighborhood guys that was in them streets, they knew you was trying to do something. And even if they knew something was going to go down, they'd be like, "You need to get up off this corner right about now."
Yeah.
They
Facts.
really, in Washington, everybody put that ball player in a special place, and everybody was behind him and pushing him to get to that next level. So, yeah, Lawrence was a special man, and spiritually, mentally, and physically.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we can stop it there. 'Cause I feel like that was a great way to end it.
Yes, sir.
First off, I want to say thank you for being a guest on our show. You were so insightful, wealth of knowledge, and definitely what you shared about like some of the stuff you shared, I did not even know. So I definitely appreciate you being on the show.
No problem. Like Glenn Harris handed that thing to Butch McAdams. Butch McAdams handed that torch to me. So I want to be that next guy. Butch was kind enough to say, Penny Greene, you're the Wikipedia of DC basketball.
That's my guy.
All right, yeah. R.I.P. Butch. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's my guy right there.
I'm going to keep that thing alive. Anybody out there, I'm looking for film footage. I want to do this film, Supreme Court. It's the history of DC basketball. 6 episodes, 45 minutes, back from 1900 all the way up. Any pictures, film footage, anything that can help enhance the film, DCbasketball.com. Please send it up.
All right, DCbasketball.com. Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody who looked in, who watched it. I could tell. I see y'all that was on X. I appreciate y'all for pulling up on X, man. Y'all are awesome. Y'all are dope. Anyway, you've been listening to the Urban Sports Scene for ages. Yedig. Deuces. We are out.
Peace. Swag.